Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Thank you for making us a part of your weekend. Hope you've got great plans out there. Happy to be back, Alex.
Happy to be back. Another beautiful Saturday here with you, Christian, where we get to recap everything and talk about everything that's happened this past week.
And you know what? It was probably the first really slow week that we've had.
It was.
This summer.
No, it really was. There was, obviously we had, media days last week. There were still Mountain West Conference media days this week. But, aside from that, you had a little bit of news coming out of the SEC media days. But in all reality, it was pretty slow.
Especially compared to the week before where it was like drinking out of a fire hose. Much news and information coming down the pipeline every single day. And then, this week was it was slow. And it's good. It's good to have a break. I know Scotty G put a tweet out this morning, 6 weeks. 6 weeks left.
We're almost there, today, man. Oh, my goodness.
Until college football kicks off. So
it's coming up, bro.
We'll enjoy the slow times while we can. But not to say that nothing happened, because a few things happened, including Summer League. Summer League wrapped up. We'll start off there with what we learned. But first, we'll talk about our weeks as we always do. Alex, did you have a highlight of your week?
Highlight of my week, bro. I downloaded College Football 26.
Awesome.
The new one. And I've just been playing that a lot this week. Probably a little bit more than I am proud to admit that I've been playing.
I'm sure many of our listeners probably relate. Yeah. I'm glad to see that the excitement and hype is still there. Last summer, that was honestly one of the biggest stories of the summer, that game was back, because, anybody from probably age 22 to 35 grew up playing the NCAA games, right? So to have that game return after more than 10 years was big. I was interested to see what the hype would look like after the first game came out, and there were some mixed reviews on it, right? But, the second year in a row that it's out, plenty of people were invested.
Yeah. So. Not to get too deep and technical into a video game, but the last one, I felt like was a good base, and they made some really good improvements in the second on the second one. So
good.
Year for year improvement, it's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have seen that they ramped up the transfer portal in the Dynasty mode.
It's ridiculous.
People are like, I had 51 players after the transfer
man.
portal.
I same here. My first year with my Dynasty with Delaware, I probably had about 45, 50 guys leave.
Delaware.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. We've got Sean behind the glass. We've also got Alma back there learning the ropes. You guys got highlights of the week?
Mine was Shane Gillis at the ESPYs.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty much all.
There you go.
I got this week. How about you, Alma?
So for me, it's very similar to Alex. I've just been spending so much time on that college football game, but I've spent more time on the road to glory side. I just want to see how many times I can transfer and how many conference championships I can win along the way. So,
nice.
CUSA, Mountain West, Sun Belt, we're just racking them all up.
There you go, man.
What are you, a quarterback?
So I did one for quarterback. That one I scattered from BYU to UTEP, then Boise State, then Miami, Florida, Miami, that is. And then for my running back, I went UNLV. Then I went to San Jose State, then to Delaware, then to Charlotte. Just because, you know what? Why not? Why not?
What's with you guys in Delaware?
It's the new team, man.
I guess.
It's the new FBS team. Everybody's excited about it. The Blue Hens. Yes.
Highlight of my week, let's see, Monday was my second anniversary with my beautiful wife.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we made it 2 years, hopefully many more to come. I got to brag about this. I made a really nice steak dinner. I killed it. Hanson Scotty would be proud. I absolutely killed it.
How do you take your steak?
Oh, a nice, probably about medium rare.
Okay.
Yeah. I always say if it's undercooked, you can put it in the microwave a little bit. If it's overcooked, you can't undo it.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
So yeah. And then last night I went and saw Superman.
Oh, I saw that last week.
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough with that. let's jump in. Again, the Jazz wrapped Summer League last night. They lost to the Chicago Bulls, 105-92, but it's not really about the wins and losses, Alex. It is about how do the guys play and what did we learn? And unfortunately, a lot of the Jazz young players that we were excited to see didn't play. Ace Bailey only played 2 games. Walt Clayton Jr. missed several games. Kyle Filipowski played himself out. Bryce Sensabaugh played himself out. Cody Williams and Isaiah Collier. Actually, Isaiah Collier missed last night, but up until then, he had played every game. So Cody Williams, I think, played every single game of Summer League. So we can start with Cody Williams just because we saw the most of him. I think the biggest takeaway from Cody is that, number one, he didn't regress, and that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
And I would say number two, last night and even the previous game, he looked like the best player on the floor for the Jazz. And I mean, you look at the guys he's playing with, no offense to these guys, but like John Tanji, Elijah Harkless are really the only 2 other guys on last night's roster that are probably going to see any minutes this year for the actual Jazz team.
Right.
So you would expect Cody Williams to be the best player out of that squad. But, I mean, it would be a huge red flag if he wasn't. But last night, 26 points for Cody, 9 of 17 shooting. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So solid performance.
I think, and that's exactly what you want to see as a Jazz fan, right? Because the reality is Cody Williams' rookie season was difficult. It was not good. People online, I saw it all the time, questioning whether or not Cody Williams was going to be an actual NBA prospect. But I think that we saw some steps taken from Cody Williams in Summer League. I know it's Summer League, and take it with a grain of salt because it's really not NBA competition. Yeah. You're playing against other first-year guys, other second-year guys, other rookies. And so, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But it bodes well for Cody Williams that you do see significant improvements in his game in Summer League, and now you just hope that translates over to the NBA level once the season actually kicks off or tips off.
Right, and it's more than just putting shots up and they're going in. It's how he gets to his spaces. Like, he's playing with the confidence that he should have because he was, 9th overall pick or 8th overall? And he's going against Summer League players. And again, you look at the Bulls roster, how many of these players are going to be playing for the Bulls on opening night?
Right.
Not many.
Right.
So you would expect Cody Williams to come out and dominate, and I like that he's at least playing with that mindset and that confidence, and that's what he needs because it's probably going to be a really tough regular season for him again. One thing I want to point out, guys, is that, first off, I hate the comparisons to his brother Jalen, right? You don't always have to talk about Cody Williams while bringing up Jalen.
They're 2 different people.
They are 2 different people. Yes. And the reason that I'm bringing this up, Jalen Williams was 22 years old when he was drafted by the Thunder. And he went 12th overall. He was 22 years old. He played 4 years of college. 22 years old. Cody Williams was 19. So that's an extra 3 years of physical development that Jalen had. There's no telling what Cody's going to look like in 3 years, but I promise he's going to be more of a grown man than he is right now, or more than he was last year, I guess, right? If you add an additional 2 years because he's already had 1. But Jalen, the older brother, came in a lot more physically prepared to deal with the NBA, and he didn't have to struggle with what Cody's struggling with and what Cody really struggled with last year. So it's really hard to draw comparisons between these 2 brothers and what they've done in the NBA so far because it's just 2 vastly different situations. And it is nice to have kind of the older brother template and say, okay, genealogy-wise, they're similar, they're built similarly. You would hope that Cody can fill out that way. And it's kind of like a projection of what Cody Williams might look like one day. But again, you also got to remember, Jalen came in a lot more experienced.
100%. And like you mentioned, Christian, he's 19, 20. I think he's 20 now in Cody Williams, right? And so you would hope that having an older brother who has had success in the NBA at the NBA level, like a Jalen Williams, that he's just a good mentor and kind of helps Cody guide himself through the waters of the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? But in all reality, they're different players, they're different people. And so I know I hear the comparisons, like people talking about, oh, well, if Jalen Williams was able to do this, maybe Cody Williams can do that. But they're different people, and I think people need to stop trying to compare the two all the time.
It's hard because Jalen just made a third-team All-NBA.
Right.
And just won a championship.
Exactly.
And was the second best player on a championship team.
And he got paid.
And he got paid. It would be awesome if Cody turned out to be that. But you don't draft Cody Williams
Because his brother got
because of who his brother is.
Right.
You draft Cody Williams because he has the prototypical size and length that you would want in an NBA wing. And he just happens to have a brother who does the same thing. Overall, though, I liked what I've seen so far from Cody in Summer League. I think he did a lot of great things. More importantly, I don't think he did a lot of negative things. And I think that's probably the more important takeaway. Because, again, you've got a top 10 draft pick going against guys that aren't going to see the floor. So, obviously, they're going to look really good, no matter how physically immature they are. So, yeah, he balled, and that was great.
But the biggest positive is the fact that you saw, like, physical improvement from Cody Williams.
Yeah.
He still needs to improve physically.
Yeah.
But like what you saw on the floor, you did see improvements. His shooting in his rookie season wasn't the best, but I felt like he was shooting a lot better in Summer League.
He doesn't look timid.
No, absolutely not. He doesn't look timid.
And again, that might change in the regular season, but, baby steps. Walt Clayton Jr., I think, was probably my second favorite player to watch. I mean, Ace was great, but we only saw 2 games of Ace. We'll get to him in a second. But Walt Clayton Jr. immediately came out of the gates, and I was like, okay, this guy is going to push for the starting point guard spot. And I don't know, you assume they're going to be starting Ace. I don't know if they're going to be wanting to start 2 rookies, but I think he outplayed Isaiah Collier. And not to say Isaiah Collier played poorly, but the shooting wasn't there. And you could tell there were times where he was maybe a little frustrated that the shot wasn't going in. He still has great speed, and he has chemistry with some of the players. I'm talking about Collier right now. He has some of the chemistry right with Filipowski, and you get in the regular season, Kessler and some of those guys because he's been on the team for a little bit. So you might give him the edge because of that, because he was the starting point guard last year. But I think eventually Walt Clayton is going to come in and push for that because he offers a lot of the playmaking, not all of the playmaking that Collier does, but he's a much better shooter. And we're talking like legitimate shooter, like deep threat.
I feel like with Clayton, despite him missing out on some games, being held out due to injuries and whatnot, you saw some good flashes out of Walt Clayton Jr. Like you mentioned, the thing that stuck out to me the most was probably that playmaking ability. Similarly to Isaiah Collier and what we saw with him do last season, that's kind of what stood out to me with Clayton. And I think you have two guys who can play the point, who can really dish it out. Obviously, there's still a long way to go in their development, but they've both started off well.
2 guys that can play the point, but then you throw in Keontae George as well. Who obviously didn't play this summer league because they believe he's above that already, which he has the ability. I think he can be a really good player. So now you talk about basically 3 players fighting for 2 spots, and it's tough, but that's the way the NBA is, and that's almost what you want because you get the whole iron sharpens iron.
Right.
You've got all of these young players that are going to be demanding the absolute best out of each other. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to end up with the 2 players that win those spots. Not to say that whoever doesn't win the point guard spot can be in the shooting guard rotation, right? But you get into size, and all of these guys are kind of on the smaller side, 6'3" or shorter. You don't really want to be playing 2 of them at the same time. But then with the size that you have with Walker Kessler, Kyle Filipowski, Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen, maybe you do have the ability to play two shorter guards. So we'll see. I really am curious to see what Will Hardy's rotations look like come regular season. I think we're going to get a lot of fun rotations. I think Ace Bailey can obviously play anywhere from the 2 all the way to maybe even the 4. So they could go really, really big. I mean, if you've got Ace Bailey at the 2, you can put Lowry at the 3, Kyle Filipowski at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5.
It's a very tall lineup.
And then like a Walt Clayton Jr., your tallest point guard. Like that's pretty crazy. And I think we're going to see that lineup. I don't know when, but I would imagine if they were trying to win as many games as possible, I would imagine that would probably be the starting lineup. But who knows? Anyways, back to Walt. I think he showed what he's known for, right? Hitting big shots. And he hit big shots throughout Summer League, and he did some playmaking, which was great and encouraging. And I liked Walt Clayton. I think I'm excited to see, Ace Bailey was a huge draw, but don't sleep on the Walt Clayton pick. I think he's going to be huge.
I agree. And I think the best thing for me that stood out about Clayton was, you mentioned a little bit earlier, is the fact that a guy like him will push Keontae George.
Yeah.
And I feel like Keontae
and he needs
that push. Absolutely. We've talked about it multiple times on the show, Christian. He's the one that I think we need to see the most improvement out of. And having Clayton and having Collier kind of push him for those minutes and pushing him at that spot, I think that will be really good for Keontae George.
And I don't want to speak for Coach Will Hardy, but I would assume that's his same thought process in the front office as well, because, you have, looking at last year, well, going back to his rookie year is pretty good, right? But then his second year, there was basically no improvement. He was essentially the same player he was as a rookie, which you'd like to see some improvement. And then Coach Hardy responds by starting Isaiah Collier, moving Keontae George to the bench. And once that happened, you saw some ups and downs, but you started to see kind of almost a switch flip in his mind, like, okay, I've got to step my game up. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my spot, and I'm losing playing time. And now with the addition of Walt Clayton, again, like you're pointing out, that's just even more competition, even more of a wake-up call. And going back to what I was kind of saying earlier, yeah, you've got 3 guys gutting it out for 2 spots, essentially. So we'll see.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how Clayton can push Keontae because he needs it.
Kyle Filipowski led the Summer League in scoring, 29.3 points a game. He averaged 10 of 19 shooting. He shot 56% from the floor, 39% from 3, while also averaging 7.7 rebounds per game, which is not bad at all. Offensively, he's everything you want in a modern-day big. I think he is the blueprint. He is what you hope that you get when you draft somebody at the end of the first round, start of the second round. He's a project, but man, he's so good on offense. But the issue is defensively, he's borderline unplayable. And it's so hard to talk about this because you see the offensive stats. You see, NBA Twitter posting his highlights and all these places posting his highlights and his stat lines and his score lines. And it's like, oh, that dude is a great player. But then you watch the game and you see on defense and he gets bullied by centers. And then by other wings, he's not fast enough to keep up with them. And it's like, you got to figure that part out to at least be serviceable on defense. Because if you can be not a net negative on defense while still producing like you do on offense, yeah, you're going to lock up a starting spot for 10 years. So again, I loved his game offensively. I think he can help out everybody in the offensive lineup, especially when you've got Walker Kessler, who's a non-shooter. If you've got your 1 through 4 spots that can shoot from anywhere, that's the modern day NBA. That gives you an advantage over almost everybody. But the defensive issues, I think, stood out to me and worried me a little bit.
I think it bodes well that he's come out and he's shown his strong offensive play and his strong offensive shooting and those strong numbers. I think that bodes well for Flip. But like you mentioned, the defense needs work. That's what needs to step up the most in his game. And kind of thinking about this long term and looking at the Jazz at a roster from a long term perspective, if Filipowski can fix that defense and improve better on defense, you got Walker Kessler and Flip. long term, that can be a really, really great combo, especially considering the fact that we are seeing how well of a shooter this guy is.
Yeah.
But the defense needs to improve.
I brought this up last week, and it was such a good point. I want to reiterate it. Right? If you've got a guard that can score but can't shoot, you can build around that with the interior defense and kind of make life a little easier for you. If you've got a big that can score and can't shoot, you can't really hide that on defense. You're going to get eaten for lunch. And so we're talking about it. If he can improve defensively, we're looking at like a 10-year starter, which is crazy.
100%.
If he doesn't improve defensively, I mean, he's still got the offensive chops to warrant a spot in the league, but now you're talking about more of a rotation player. And I mean, you look at a 32nd overall pick, right? That's best case scenario anyway, or not best case, but like that's a really good scenario. You're getting a solid rotation player for a very long time. But to have a skill that's so valuable, to be so good at something, you would hope that he raises the floor on the other end just so he can really hit his potential. That's what I'd like to see, because I think he's a great story. And he really is just such a dynamo. So much fun to watch offensively.
And at the end of the day, this is a guy who got picked in the second round. And the Jazz...
And he slid. He was supposed to go first round. He was in the green room.
Exactly. This is a guy... I think the Jazz got they got a huge value in the second round, in the early second round. What was it, 32, Christian?
Yeah.
And we're seeing that he has a high ceiling to play at a high level in the NBA. Now he's just got to continue to develop that defensive side of the ball. The shooting is there, and like you mentioned, this is a guy who has the potential to be a 10+ year player in the NBA. If he just can fix that defense, he'll be all right.
Speaking of shooting, Bryce Sensabaugh played himself out of Vegas. We talked about him a little bit last week because he dominated Salt Lake.
Yes.
He had the highest scoring performance of Summer League, 37 points. Shooting over 40% from three, and it was like, okay, yeah, you're good. You're good, Bryce. And sometimes you hear about players that are like almost frustrated that they're asked to play in summer league, and so it's almost like a prove it thing. Like, oh, you don't want to be here? Okay, go prove it. And that's what Bryce.
No, he proved
that.
It.
What I would think. That's what I would think Bryce did. I don't know the conversation that went on behind the scenes, but ultimately Bryce is a third-year player, right? And similarly to what we're talking about with Cody, like, yeah, you would expect him to come in and dominate these games. He's been in the NBA already for a couple years. He should be better than everybody. And he was early on. There was a very early sign. I think Bryce Sensabaugh is really underrated. I think that a lot of people get caught up in all of the other players that the Jazz have drafted, kind of forgetting how valuable Bryce is. And even if all he ever is a really good 3-and-D player, that's valuable. Anybody in the NBA would trade for that. That's how guys get paid. That's how guys stick around in the league for a very long time. You can find a guard that has the potential to score 30 points a night by dribbling the ball around and taking 30 shots a game, right? Finding a guy who shoots 40% from three, there's not many of those in the NBA, Alex.
And I think it kind of got lost in the youth development season last season for the Jazz, but there was a time there in January where Bryce Sensabaugh was playing hot, man.
That Florida trip,
he could not miss, and then went out, was held out for a couple of games, came back, but he was still shooting well. And I think, like, you're absolutely right. I think people get caught up in the Keontae Georges and the Filipowskis and the Williams, and people sometimes kind of forget that Bryce Sensabaugh is there, and he's playing a phenomenal role when it comes to shooting. And if he's someone that we cannot overlook, because he went out in Summer League, proved that he belongs, and now, again, we just hope that continue to see development from him as we get to the NBA season, because he is he's a fun guy to watch when he's hot. When he's hot, he can't miss.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then Ace Bailey, again, only played 2 games. But I think we saw improvement from game 1 to game 2. So, I mean, there's not much to say there. I think he showed exactly what made him the 5th overall pick. He made some extremely tough shots. He got in there. He gutted out some rebounds, which is an extremely positive sign. He has what you can't teach. He has the size. He has the athleticism. You're talking about a true 6'7.5" guy that can shoot over anybody. He has the length. And again, he's a phenomenal athlete too. So you factor in his athleticism with his long arms and his height. He can out-rebound anybody else that's going to be guarding him. And he can outshoot. I mean, he can shoot over anybody that's going to be guarding him too. I really am interested to see. I brought it up earlier. He can play anywhere from 2, 3, 4, right? So I think he is it's a chess piece that can be used in many different ways.
Yes.
And obviously, he's a rookie, so there are going to be rookie growing pains, and he's not going to come in and be an all-NBA player right off the bat. He's not going to be the best version of Ace Bailey right off the bat, but there are flashes, and when you see those flashes, it's like licking your chops.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my gosh, that guy
Absolutely.
fell to 5.
By far, he's the most exciting guy right now on this roster. For me,
Yeah.
he's the most exciting guy. But and the only knock I have on him really is it's not anything against him. It's just the situation that he was in. But the knock I have against him is that we just didn't see him more in summer league. I wish we could have seen him more.
Initially, it was called a groin injury, and then it got changed to, I believe it was a hip, is what they were calling it.
Hip soreness, if I'm not mistaken.
That limited him to only a couple summer league games. But training camp here in a couple months, and then a couple weeks, I guess. I don't know. I'm lost in the summer. Real quick, before we go to break, I wanted to throw this out. Hans Olsen had a tweet ranking Jazz players in terms of his interest. I put out my own version. You can tell me what you think of this, Alex. Real quick, my own interest ranked, I'd go Ace Bailey, Walt Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Keontae George.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Obviously, you got 2 first-round picks, 1 and 2. You want to see what they have. Taylor Hendricks slept on. When he's healthy, I think he has the potential to be one of the best defensive players in the league. So that's why I have him so high at 3. Again, going back to Bryce Sensabaugh, he has the potential to be one of the best shooters in the NBA. And then you've got Flip. You basically know what he is. Cody Williams, I think it's going to be a little bit before we see him hit anything close to his potential. That's why he's kind of lower. And then Isaiah Collier and Keontae George, you kind of know what they are. So.
Yeah. I think for me, Bryce would be a little bit lower because I feel like with Bryce, you know a little bit more of what you got with him, and Cody Williams might have been higher on my list because he's the one I had the most question marks about going into summer league. But for the most part, pretty spot on list.
Yeah. So let us know what you think at the KSL Sports Zone on Twitter. How would you rank the Jazz young players in terms of who you're most excited to see this season? Alex, let's take a break. Coming up next on the other side, we'll talk some big free agent moves. Damian Lillard back with the Portland Trail Blazers. Can't wait to hit that next. Stay with us. It's the Saturday Show 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back to the Saturday Show 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza. Alex Napoles here by my side. As always, thanks for making us a part of your Saturday morning. Is it still gloomy outside? It was like cloudy on the way in.
It was rainy and gloomy last night, man, on my way home.
That was a little weird.
I was driving home, and you could see, like, lightning strikes happening over the Ochre Mountains over here on the west side. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's nice to get some overcasted. We all have yard work to do.
Yeah.
It sucks to do it when it's 95 degrees out and hot. I'll take 82 and cloudy.
There you go, man.
Alex, let's talk some more NBA free agency. I think there have been some really, really great moves in NBA free agency, and we did some kind of winners and losers a couple weeks ago. There were still some dominoes to fall, and this week we saw it. The Phoenix Suns buy out Bradley Beal, and he signs immediately with the Clippers. The buyout thing was funny because, the Bucks bought out Damian Lillard's contract, who we'll talk about in a second, and they spread the money out over like 5 years. They're paying him 21 point whatever million over 5 years. The Phoenix Suns saw that and said, "Oh, we'll do the same thing." The Suns should not have done that because they're paying Bradley Beal tons of money.
Yeah.
Tons of money over the next several years. The difference between them and the Bucks, though, is the Bucks have Giannis Antetokounmpo in a wide open Eastern Conference. If you have a top 3 player on your team in a Eastern Conference that is that weak and that vulnerable, you have a chance to win. I don't care. I don't care what the rest of your team looks like. Giannis is that good. The Suns are not that good. They're not that good to hamstring themselves with Bradley Beal's contract. And I get that they'd have to pay him over the next, he still had, I think, 2 or 3 years left on his deal. So they'd have to pay him anyways. The buyout is what you do, but eat the cost up front and free up money as soon as you can. I don't get why you would spread his cap hit out. So that was a little silly to me.
The Phoenix Suns are in desperate need of a reset.
Which
right?
you can't do.
Exactly. They, moving on from KD this summer, you re-sign Book as kind of your centerpiece to lead you into what's essentially going to be a rebuild for the Phoenix Suns. You got a lot of players in that 7-team trade, with by sending KD to the Rockets, right? And then you got a bunch of
that was silly.
A bunch of new young guys coming in, and so I mean it is a rebuild time for the Suns. But I feel like you kind of hurt yourself by taking the hit on Bradley Beal during a rebuild.
You can't. It's so hard.
Because that's just money you can't use to rebuild.
The thing that's weird, though, is we all know they need a rebuild, but
Right.
they don't know that because they just paid Devin Booker a ton of money.
Right.
He's going to be making $70 million a year towards the end of the decade. So they spread out Bradley Beal's buyout. I found the numbers. $19.4 million of dead cap hit over the next 5 years, which we saw the Jazz take some dead money, right, during their rebuild. But if you're trying to flip the roster and turn around and compete, why are you taking – we'll round it up to 20 because I like that number.
Right.
Why are you taking a $20 million cap hit over the next 5 years? That's essentially – you can't be competitive while paying $20 million to Bradley Beal. So either rebuild, tear the roster down, trade Devin Booker away, and go full rebuild, or go all in now and eat the money and then be competitive in 2 years.
Right.
I don't get what the Suns are doing. Obviously, the Jazz hold their 2031 pick, so that's good news for them. So
for reference, Cam Johnson, who just got traded to the Nuggets, his cap hit is also $20 million.
yeah,
That's the type of player you can get at $20 million.
he's a really good player.
He's a great player, and the Nuggets just got him in that trade. So, just to kind of give you like a visual picture, that is the type of player you can get at $20 million on your cap, and you're losing that now because that $20 million is going to Bradley Beal, and that's spread out over what, 5 years? You said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Players on the Suns roster that have a cap hit over $20 million this year. Dylan Brooks is at $21 million. Jalen Green is at $33 million, and then Devin Booker is at $53 million. So essentially, Bradley Beal has the fourth most expensive contract on this team over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I get you want to move on from Bradley Beal, right? It didn't work out. Bradley Beal was supposed to come out and link up with KD and Booker, and the Suns team was supposed to be championship contenders, but they were far from it.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It was a failed project. I get you have to move on from Bradley Beal, but I don't know if this was the best way to move on from Bradley Beal.
Well, Bradley Beal joins the Clippers.
Yeah.
Immediately, 2 years, $11 million. And this is the potential Clippers lineup. Okay, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. Off the bench, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., Brook Lopez, and Nick Batum.
It's a pretty good...
That is, on paper, that's a dang good lineup. And this, again,
That's a
these
deep
guys without the additions of John Collins and Bradley Beal,
Yeah.
this team pushed Denver to 7 games last year, and Denver pushed OKC to 7 games last year. I think the Clippers have the potential to make some noise as long as they stay healthy, and that's
the big
that's
thing.
the big one, right? Now you throw Bradley Beal into the mix, basically your top guard line, they're all injury prone and they're all old, but they have potential. Again, John Collins being added to this team, I think is great. I think he has the opportunity to it's like one last hurrah with these guys, right?
Yeah.
And Bradley Beal, I know that we talk about him as such a negative cost for the Suns over the next 2 years. Bradley Beal on a $50 million per year contract obviously is a net negative. Bradley Beal for 2 years, $11 million is a steal. No way around it. I mean, he's still a very serviceable player. I think the Clippers could be a dark horse in the West, but we'll see. The Western Conference, as always, right? This is how it's always been. The West is so deep, so many teams. In the East, it's just like, who's going to step up?
The Western Conference is going to be exciting because I think you have multiple teams right now on paper that can win it. The Nuggets, the Thunder, the Clippers.
Throw the Clippers in, yeah.
I would 100% throw the Clippers in there.
Who knows what the Mavericks are going to look like when they're fully healthy? Who knows what the Lakers are going to look like? I know there's some turmoil there. The Rockets, obviously, adding KD was huge. So that's
the Real Rockets. Absolutely.
That's already 6 teams. So yeah, it could be fun in LA for the Clippers. Real quick, Damian Lillard back to the Portland Trailblazers. 3 years, $41 million contract for Dame. Obviously, coming off the Achilles tear, the expectation is he's going to miss all of next season. Cool for Dame that he gets to return to Portland. We know that he didn't really like Milwaukee. He didn't like being away from his family. He gets to go back to Portland where he is a legend. He has established himself as one of the greatest players in Portland Trailblazers history. They love him there, and I'm glad that he gets to return there. He could have done it for free. I don't know why Portland would do this. This makes absolutely no sense to me, especially after they just traded for Drew Holiday.
Right.
So you're 2 years down the line before you ever see Dame. When he comes back, are you going to have Dame and Drew playing together, who are both in their late 30s at that point? What about Shadon Sharp? What about Scoot Henderson? How are those guys going to see the floor with these 2 veterans that you just brought in? And 3 years, 41 is not expensive, but it's not cheap by any means. I have no idea why Portland would do this. I know why Dame would do it.
Yes. For Dame, it's a phenomenal move. You're getting paid $14.1 million next season from the Portland Trailblazers to rehab.
Plus 21 from Milwaukee.
Plus another 21 for Milwaukee. So I mean, you're getting a big old paycheck to plan out your rehab and get back to full health. For the Trailblazers, it doesn't make sense.
No, but he also gets the 3rd year, which is the thing. I'm sure that nobody else was even considering giving Dame a 3rd year, right? You think, okay, we'll give him a 2-year contract, 1 year to rehab, 1 year to see what he looks like. Portland's like, hey, we'll give you a 3rd year just because we love you and because you did so much for us.
Retire with us.
And now you're locked into that.
Yeah. It makes no sense for the Trailblazers. I guess, a positive out of this, you get Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard to coach up Scoot Henderson. But
they are good veteran mentors.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's a positive, right? But in all reality, you're tying up a lot of money to 2 guys who are over 30.
Over 30.
Well over 30, and a guy who's now coming off an Achilles. And who knows where he will be when he gets back.
And there were still rumors that they could flip Drew still.
Right. And that would make the most sense.
They're both 35, Drew and Dame, by the way.
Oh, man.
But it's a very convoluted guard line.
Yeah.
Because, again, you've got the 2 young guys that you would assume Portland thinks are their guards of the future. And bringing in two guys 35 and older, again, Dame's not going to be 37 until he's playing again. And Drew Holiday is, let's just say he's not aging well, right? He's still serviceable, but he's not even the same player he was 2 years ago when Portland had him, or last year when Portland had him the first time.
Right.
So I did see some funny things like the total, you go back to the original Damian Lillard trade and basically what the Trailblazers have netted since then. And it's like, oh, now they have Dame, now they have Drew. They've got the assets that they got. They got Danny Avdia that they burned some assets to get, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but you're also paying Dame now. I mean, you would have had to give him the extension before, right, and paid him more, but it's not the same. It's not like they just won the trade because they ended up with both Drew and Dame. Now they've created a problem for themselves that is going to hurt them for a few years. And I don't think it's going to pay off immediately. I don't know what the thought process is. Even the Drew Holiday move was a little strange because it's like, okay, do you think you're ready to win now? We just named 6 teams in the West that could win it. We're not even talking about winning a playoff series where you bring up like the Warriors and teams like that. I would pick the Warriors 90 times out of 100 over this Trailblazers team.
I agree.
I don't think Portland could win a playoff series within the next 2 years or 3 years. So I don't get what these two moves are, talking about the Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard trade/sign. It's confusing.
It is confusing. And I think, the Portland Trailblazers haven't been contenders in a minute.
No.
And I don't think that this puts them anywhere near that either. Considering, I mean, you're probably not going to see Dame for another season.
Right.
So, this move is a head scratcher for sure for the Portland Trailblazers. But I think at the end of the day, it is funny that back in 2023, when Damian Lillard got traded for Drew Holiday, and now both of them are with
it's
the Portland
funny.
Trailblazers. And even having both of those guys back, even though you traded them for each other a couple years ago, now you have both of them.
Was that 2023?
It was 2023, man.
Okay, time flies.
Yeah. It's only been 2 years-ish.
Yeah. Well, I guess glad for Dame he's back in Portland because we know how much he means to that community, right? And I'm sure he's going to be making appearances and stuff still because he is a legend there. So,
and I think at the end of the day, that's important for the fans.
Yeah.
It's important for the fans to have him back. A lot of the reaction I saw on social media, a lot of people who are fans of the Portland Trailblazers are happy to have Damian Lillard back.
So glorified assistant coach for a year.
That's what it is. That's what he's going to be.
But yeah, you bring up the mentorship.
He's going to be a good
Scoot.
mentor to Scoot, and I think that's an important piece of this.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a break, Alex. Coming up next on the other side, we'll get into technical fouls. Here's my tease, okay? Be careful what you use for an expense on your company credit card, okay? We'll hit that next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You switch the radio to some modern music show. That's a technical foul. If you touch the thermostat,
You'll get hit with a bat.
'cause that's a technical foul.
You will feel my wrath.
That's a technical foul.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
A technical foul.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. It's time for Technical Fouls, one of our favorite segments every single week. We had a good one last week. That golf fight heard round the world.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Hard to top that. That's going to be...
I went and rewatched the video after the show.
Yeah,
and
it's funny.
It's hilarious.
That's going to go down in Technical Foul Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get a shrine for that one. This week we've got some good ones, though. I'll start us off here. Earlier in the week, there were reports that the NFLPA boss, Lloyd Howell Jr., was resigning. And at first, I'm seeing these tweets, these notifications, and I'm like, okay, why do I care? Cool. Awesome. And they're like making a big deal out of him resigning. And then yesterday, this sort of bombshell article comes out about why he resigned, Alex. Lloyd Howell Jr. was under investigation because there were some interesting expense reports for the Players Union, including a $738 charge for a car service that took him from an airport to a strip club. Then a year later, that was in 2023, a year later, on the expense report, a total of $2,426 in charges, including cash withdrawals ranging from $200 to $500 from a different strip club ATM. Documents show they used 2 VIP rooms. So this was flagged by the person that, goes over the expense reports.
Right.
And they conducted an investigation. And on the expense reports, it was noted that this was I just told you in break and I lost it. Essentially, bonding.
Team bonding.
Team bonding is essentially, I'm paraphrasing what it said on the expense report. You can't. Oh, player engagement event to support and grow our union. Look, if that's what you're going to do in your spare time, whatever. Don't expense your company's credit card on
Yes.
it, especially something as forward-facing as the NFLPA. So, yeah, I thought that was funny, and he has since resigned. There was an investigation that was conducted, and they were like, yeah, that's not okay.
If you're going to, whatever you do in your private life, you do you.
Yeah.
You do you, boo. Just don't put it on the company credit card. Especially something like this that is going to cause mass scrutiny and will essentially lead you to having to resign from your job.
The employee flagged the receipt to the union's travel department for a higher level of review, basically said, hey, you might want to check this out. According to ESPN, the union travel forwarded the documents to compliance for review by lawyers. And then, it was all investigated, and this guy's stepping down. So I thought that was hilarious. It's like, dude, what? What even goes through your mind when you're like, oh, yeah, I'll just expense it. We've, the PA's got us on this. It's on the house. That's crazy.
For team bonding.
Team bonding.
Or what was it? Player
engagement.
Hey, player engagement. Oh, man. Like I said, if whatever you're gonna do in your personal time, that's on you. But be smart about using your company credit card, I guess, is the lesson we can all learn from this. Don't expense trips to strip clubs on the company credit card.
No.
Yeah.
There were some statements from some other people basically saying, yeah, that's pretty horrible. That's pretty messed up. Yeah, I agree. All right, Alex, what do you have for us?
The ESPYs. First of all, I don't really care too much for the ESPYs. But they got Shane Gillis to host this time. And Shane Gillis is a funny dude. And he says funny things. And
he's a comedian.
He's a comedian, and sometimes, he stirs the pot a little bit.
Definitely stirred the pot.
And what I mean by that is he says things that, are kind of out of pocket sometimes. But the one that I want to focus on is one that has a little bit to do with BYU because they played against Colorado in the Alamo Bowl, and this is what Shane Gillis said about Shedeur Sanders and the Alamo Bowl.
Shedeur Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right? All right.
13-12, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl.
And
remember the almost Alamo Bowl victory.
And I think throwing almost in there is kind of a jab. It's not a jab, but it's not what happened. Because
it's a jab.
Almost.
Well, you're right.
It wasn't almost.
It wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't even close. And so, BYU kind of sort of mentioned at the ESPYs. But most importantly, Shane Gillis taking a jab at Shedeur Sanders. And I thought that was hilarious because 13-12, and you have your jersey you got your jersey retired at Colorado.
36-14 was the final, and yeah, it wasn't even that close. BYU dominated 20-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
And Shedeur Sanders did not play particularly well either, if I remember correctly, which I do.
And if I remember correctly, guys were coming out in the post-game press conferences and saying, "Yeah, they kind of took us to the woodshed."
Yeah.
Yeah.
One team was clearly ready,
Yes.
and that team was not Colorado. But yeah, 13-12 over your college career. No playoff appearances, no playoff games, no Heisman,
no conference championships.
I mean, your biggest accolade was Big 12. What was it? Offensive Player of the Year, I think he was.
I think so. Yeah.
And that's it.
And your jersey getting retired.
Right, but I'm saying that's the only accolade that he had.
Right.
And then, yeah, they retire his jersey. I'm sure nepotism isn't a factor.
So technical foul for that. And, of course, just a technical foul in general for Shane Gillis because he stirred the pot, man.
Yeah.
He made a lot of people unhappy this week. But it's all in good spirit. He's a comedian. It's his job.
He definitely he stirred the pot. He got a reaction. All right, let's take a break. Coming up next, let's talk some Utah football because after media days, there was a sense that there wasn't really a favorite to win the conference, but we've seen some weird shifting in the past several days even. So I want to talk Utah football next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.